Extra, extra, read all about it! Welcome to the Empire's Recap, and today we will be going over the chaos and drama of our somewhat respected rulers. This week is the end of something special to us all. No, not 2022, the crossover! But first, we must go back in time a bit to when the Emperors first crossed over to Hermitcraft. Avast! Fashionably late, Pirate Joe is finally showing his side of the Battle of Fort Riftless, though I'm not sure he properly understood the battle part. He was sad to watch his new crew leave with hardly a second thought, and the missile shot at Grumbot could have blown up his new concrete maker. Thankfully it didn't, and the open rift provided a convenient opportunity. Miss Shelby was having some trouble deciding whether to go through the portal or not, and well, Joey helped. With most of Empires to himself now, Pirate Joe did what pirates do best: raid! He cleaned out Hermitopia of all its valuables, storing them in a secret room inside of his secret basement with greedy glee. They don't need them anymore. But if the other Emperors were going to be gone for a while, well, it's pranking time. And Joey knows just who deserves a little pranking. Someone who was definitely on the other side of the portal. Joey's first visit to Evermore in a while gives him a chance to marvel at the massive frog Shelby left behind. Would she notice him missing? Well, hopefully she will notice the change in her storage. A little pirate magic has replaced all of her valuable and important items with pieces of coal. It even hit her shop. Good luck making back the diamonds with no potion ingredients, Miss Witch. But what's even more piratey than stealing treasure? Burying it with a treasure map, of course. And Joey chooses Dawn as his X marks the spot. If Shelby thinks it was Jem who stole her things, the two of them can fight over it, and that's a show he wants to see.
Missing Emperors aren't all that missing, and their arrival onto the Hermitcraft server is heralded by chaos, shown by the many ways people got out of Bryn's very inaccessible rift cave. One of those methods is death, demonstrated quite nicely by Shelby Shubble. Rescue Squad Scar shows up with an elytra and some teleportation cookies, and then Shelby meets up with Ollie so he can show her the Christmas village everyone's building in. New King Sausage is working at the village, and Shelby gets herself appointed as court magician, and Ollie is court jester, of course. Cub visits for some fun, and Shelby gets a bootleg wand while she's on Hermitcraft.
Okay, but whenever anyone wants a potion to do something like crazy and funky, I do it for free.
She turned me into a zombie one time.
Yeah, that was free.
Yep.
And I'll do it again for free too.
Nothing wrong with that. Sausage leads Shelby on an adventure for Netherwood, with a perfectly normal reaction to their nether hub. Because, honestly, the hermits are actually insane.
People are rich.
Yeah, these are real nether stars. Each one of these is a nether star. That's one wither kill per star. And they're everywhere. Yeah.
Man, I'm feeling very inadequate all of a sudden.
Yeah, these guys are built differently. You know, it's just okay. We can't all...
Jevin visits their humble abode with some Christmas hats, really taking on the role of Santa. She builds a home in the Christmas village, but she doesn't get to live in it for long when Ollie comes by, yelling about the rift closing. A final goodbye to the hermits, and Shelby travels back to Empires with Tortoise on her head. She travels home through a village where she comes past her own wanted poster. At least she's worth quite a lot.
Scott's feeling a bit homesick, and with the rift shrinking day by day, it's probably time to check out and head back home. In return for Scar's hospitality while Scott's been on Hermitcraft, Scott does some community service around Scarland, fixing a few things that were broken and adding in a few hidden lights to make the place more Scar-safe. Showcasing his love for cats, he builds Jelly a cat tree in the hotel. She's a hard worker. She deserves the gift as well. Since Scott can't light up the whole park with hidden lighting, the next best thing is a security force. That answers to Jelly, of course. The last, final, best gift, if you're a little bit of a narcissist, is Scott leaving statues of himself around the apartment. Scarland will forever have a touch of Scott's Major when Scott heads home. Which he has to do quickly, as when he turns up at the rift it has shrunk quite drastically and is now just one block. He leaves the note and heads through to the other side of the rift. A wander through the abandoned Hermitopia yields some goodies, and when he checks his llama outpost, B-Dubs has left him his secret Santa. But he can't be wandering about forever, so back to Chromia he goes. It looks a little more orange than when he left it, and to say his reaction is dramatic would be understating it.
A place to die for. Let's go home. Home sweet... What?
With Fwip still on the Hermitcraft server, we discover that Mr. Cuddles still owns Fwip's apartment in Scarland before heading over to Holiday Village. The holiday village being the Empire's crew home away from home and all, Whip needed a tour. During this tour, Whip hands out presents from Scarland, which are all the blocks that accidentally lagged into his inventory. Sausage also continuously tries to get Whip to remember his lore back on Empires, but fails, even with some odd-looking ears. Whip later checks in on the impending closure of the rift, where he discovers it's definitely time to locate where Sniff and Gary disappeared to. Sniff is the first to be successfully located, followed by Gary. With both Sniff and Gary back home, Whip follows them through, where he finally remembers his life as a goblin. Back in the Goblands, Sniff is reunited with his brother Snort, and Gary is escorted to a temporary house. Whip decides that if Gary is to remain in the Goblands, there needs to be a hospital for Gary. Our Goblin King goes scavenging for materials from the Hermit's old home away from home for this hospital. A frog doctor is hired for this new facility. Thus, Gary is moved into the back alley hospital in Goblin to heal, before officially returning to Animalia.
Mythical Sausage spends his Christmas break with many people. Starting off with his wood puppy Corellis, he shows Sausage the mini sanctuary down below, decorating the new wood farm. After that, Sausage helps his Thunder Daddy decorate the new tree in the Christmas area. With the new balls, he might add. It looks fantastic. Pearl takes a tour around his new house, which fits her theme very well. With news of the rift shrinking, Sausage introduces his new child, Sunny. Speaking of which, once both members of Hermitcraft and Empires congregate around the rift, Pearl and Sausage have a small moment aside from the rest. They talk and are both thrown back into memories. Sausage remembers the tragedy that is the Season 1 finale. Pearl dies in his arms, so he's filled with the need to get her back.
The days turn to weeks, the weeks turn to months, and the months turn to years. Pearl could never be saved. Now, just an old man, defeated. But something interesting happened.
After traveling the multiverse, he meets St. Pearl as an old man, who then throws him into Afterlife as a way to relax. After dying, he ascends back to heaven, from which he takes a nap, and is thrown into Empire Season 2, where we are now. Having had this vision, Sausage jumps through the portal with a final wave. It's clearly not the end for this man. It's a beginning.
And with that, join us next week for more chaos and shenanigans. Thank you for watching, liking and subscribing, and thanks to everyone helping out with the project. Check them all out down below.